Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dr. Funk podcast. Thank you guys so much for subscribing on iTunes, on Stitcher, checking us out on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Today, we have a very, very special guest, a guitar player for Justin Timberlake's band, the Tennessee Kids. Also, guitar player with Prince's most successful N.P.G. band on the Musicology Tour, his most successful tour. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one, the only, Mike Scott.
Hey, Dr. Funkenberry, how's everything?
All right, Mike, how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just been a long week. We've been working hard over here, rehearsing for the last month. You know, getting ready for the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Right.
So the big day is tomorrow, and it's been a long uphill climb to get here.
A long uphill climb. And you guys have been able to practice for the past month without a lot of drama. You've been able to practice for the past week in Minnesota without a lot of drama. And of course, today, it's been trending on Twitter. There's a lot of rumors going on. I know that you cannot talk specifics about the Super Bowl performance and what's going to be played, correct?
That's correct.
There's just one question and one question only. And
what might that be?
Is there or is there not going to be a Prince hologram during the Super Bowl performance?
There is no hologram.
All right. No hologram. Everyone heard him say it, right? There we go. All right.
There we go.
Are you, because you've played for a lot of people, but you ever played for almost 100,000 in a stadium and having millions and millions of people watch worldwide before?
Yeah, Justin, we just did Rock in Rio last year, and that went out. They had a very, very large crowd, and it aired all over. You know, the world, and that was a highly watched, highly televised event. And we've done several other events that have had just millions of people watching us. So this is not, this isn't my first time.
First rodeo.
My first rodeo. I was gonna say my first football game. My first. Yeah. So that size crowd is, has been in my career for a while, even back in the Prince days.
Right. How is that energy of a stadium that huge compared to sometimes some of these after shows that you've done with Prince in a small venue and with Justin?
Well, I don't know, man. I've been doing this so long. I just and we have in-ears in on stage, so we don't really hear all the screaming. We have to wear the in-ears over the screaming females at Justin's concerts, and so the energies is great. You can see the audience just losing their minds, and even when I was with Prince, I used to always tell the band, I said, man, if we were up here naked and on fire, the audience wouldn't notice for at least the first hour. They wouldn't even notice that we were on fire, because all eyes are on Prince, all eyes are on Justin. They're watching his every move. So the energy, the energy level is great, though. Justin's a great performer. The Super Bowl is going to be amazing. Trust me.
We are all looking forward to it, especially now with you saying there's no hologram. So we're looking forward to it even more now. I mean, it was a prop bet, as we talked about off air. It's a prop bet that that Justin is supposed to do a Prince song, or will he or won't he? And like we talked about, Justin's in a really bad spot because you're in Prince's hometown. If you don't pay tribute to him, you're going to get slammed. If you do pay tribute to him, you're going to get slammed. So he's in a bad position right now. I don't want to be in the position he's in.
Well, I don't think most people would want to be in between a rock and a hard place like that. But Justin's gonna put on an amazing performance. He's one of the hardest working artists I've ever worked with, and his shows are always just perfection. So whatever is going to happen tomorrow, everyone's going to be happy. That's all I will say. And that's all I can say.
And
everybody's
no
going to be, at the
hologram
end of the
needed.
day, everybody's going to be happy.
Everyone will be happy and no hologram needed.
There you go. I did say there was no hologram.
Right. Just reiterating it.
Yeah.
Now, when did you start playing with Prince? 96, 97?
96 I got with Prince.
Emancipation era, jam of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Emancipation. I moved to Minneapolis in 92 and started working my way up the music chain in the city, you know, playing. I tried to play with every band that was here. And eventually got with the Sounds of Blackness, which led me to become the house session guitarist for Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. And man, they were making hits back then. You know, in the 90s, I was going in there almost every day recording for everybody, playing guitar on everybody's records. Janet, you know, Lionel, Destiny Shaw, everybody. And then I also played in the band with Prince's then drummer, Kirk Johnson. And he invited me over to jam one day with Prince. And, you know, the rest is history.
That must have been crazy and fun and so much other stuff. Even during that era where he was a man with no name.
Yeah. Yeah. You had to pretty much catch him. You'd had to catch his attention as he was turning your way, because he would not answer to Prince or anything. So you had to wait till he's kind of looking at you, and then you say what you got to say to him. Because if he was walking away from you and you said Prince, he just kept walking. And when he didn't have a name, we couldn't when he had the symbol, we couldn't call him anything. We were just like sir and boss, you know.
That is so crazy, because you hear those stories about sir and boss. For real, he was doing it, and that would just suck. Yeah. You know, I know some people, they'd be like Prince and then sir, you know.
Yeah, he would not answer to Prince. Remember, he went on what was that, Rosie O'Donnell? He went on and she kept calling him Taff Cap, which was the artist formerly known as Prince, and he got so angry at her, and he got up and walked off the show.
I mean, and kept telling her, like, because she kept trying to call him Taffy, because Madonna was telling her to call him Taffy. And then, it's a cute nickname. And he's like, you know what Taffy rhymes with? And she's like, what? And he's like, you say it one more time, good night. Like, he was upset. And then she accidentally called him Prince. And he was like, that's a lot better than Taffy. I don't know. Yeah. Rosie and that, it was a little bit of disrespect, and Prince didn't like it just because I think like a few years later, she hosted the Grammys and she was telling people not to thank God, that God's got better things to do than look out for you to get an award. So Prince made sure when he did the Soul Train Awards later that year to have the audience stand up when he got Artist of the Decade, and there are many blessed people. That's why we thank God when we win awards, is because we want to show our blessings. Yeah. I never understood why Rosie went out like that. She always kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
Clearly rubbed him the wrong way as well.
Right? I mean, the reason he agreed to do her show is when he did the Today Show for Dinner with Dolores and Zana Lee to promote Chaos and Disorder. She was bugging him to do the show, and he's like, let's do it for the next album. This was a contractual obligation. I had to do Letterman and Today's Show. I'll do your show because you asked me personally. That's why he did it, out of respect, because she asked him to his face. But that performance didn't even go well, and we knew it wasn't going to go well because she didn't even know the difference between Get Off and Cream. She thought they were the same song.
Wow.
That tells you something.
Yeah, and then on top of it, to make it all worse, she was shooting those rubber things at him.
And he was trying, but he never did that before. It's like Prince picking up a golf club. I know he's good at ping pong, but I don't think the brother knew how to play golf. You know?
Oh man, ping pong, basketball, and pool. You didn't want to step near a pool table with that man.
Nah, he looked like he can ace it. I know he likes him some Tiger Woods, but I know he probably sure wasn't good at golf. But on a basketball court. I played him a ping pong and got my butt whipped, but it was embarrassing. But the pool thing probably would have been a little bit more fun because you think you have a shot with the ping pong. Oh no,
no, you don't. You can't get anything. No, you don't stand a chance.
Now, is there stuff that Justin does like that with you guys when you're like or between out on the road performing or even in the studio where you're like playing ping pong or anything like that? Do you have a better shot beating Justin?
No, we actually have never had an opportunity to do that because Justin's camp, when we're not rehearsing or working, we're touring. So, right. And like I said, he's one of the hardest working artists I've ever worked for, and he's just he sets the bar so high. And but when we have off days, the band does go out and hang with him. We go do stuff, but we've never played. Well, I've never played ping pong with him. I do remember we were somewhere and they had ping pong tables, but I've never played personally myself with him. But the band hangs out a lot. We do a lot of things. Like when we were in Australia, we went to Steve Irwin's place, and when we were in Dubai, we all went on camel rides, and we rode jeeps through the desert, and it was all pretty amazing. And he does stuff like that with us.
That's cool. So it sounds like just because of that, you get a little bit more sleep than you would than when you were traveling and touring with Prince.
Yeah, most definitely, because Prince would call us at 2 a.m, or somebody would call and say, "Man, Prince wants to go to a movie. Be there in a half hour." You'd be in bed sleep, and we had to get up to go to a movie. So wow, yeah, and once I remember we were rehearsing for something, and Maite had to walk up to him and tell him, he had a mic in front of him, and she whispered, she said, "Baby, let the band go. It's almost 7 a.m. He said, what time is it? It's almost 7 a.m. He had no idea. We had been rehearsing all night. Wow. And he just didn't even, care about the time. He just wanted to work. So, Prince was one of the most amazing musicians that God to ever grace us with. And anybody who came through his camp, you definitely left there a much better musician than when you arrived, because he pushed you to limits that you weren't aware that you even were capable of. Right. And that's the thing I love the most about working with him. His performance differs from Justin's because Justin has we have a routine that's also has choreography and lighting, and it's all got to be the same. Whereas Prince would deviate, and we would never know what song he was going to call. Sometimes he would get away from the set list and just go into something completely different, and it just made you had to be on point every night. No room for mistakes. You've been around him long enough. There was no mistakes in his band. You didn't make mistakes.
Or you got that look, and you did not want to get that look from him.
You didn't want to get those. You didn't want to get those fingers rubbing together. He'd help. Yeah, if he held his hand up and rubbed those fingers together, you knew you just got fined at least $1,000.
Wow. $1,000. I need my money.
He fined me once for something. I don't know. I made a mistake on something. I told him, I said, "You will never find me again." And I was telling him I'm never going to make another mistake again. And yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah, and it sounds like Paisley Park is kind of like Las Vegas because there's no clocks in there, so you don't know what time it is. And I think he would do that on purpose so he can get you guys to stay till 7 o'clock in the morning jamming.
Yeah, well, he was definitely a workaholic, man. I don't know when that guy would sleep sometimes, but he just loved to be in the studio recording or rehearsing with the band or just jamming. That's all he ever wanted to do.
Yeah. Now, have you been back to Paisley Park since that day in April 2 years ago?
Yeah, Justin just had a listening party for his new record, Man of the Woods. He had a listening party at Paisley on Thursday.
And you were there at that?
Yes, I was there. It was only in the back part of Paisley. The rest of the building that they've turned into what I've heard is like a museum or something.
Right.
We weren't allowed in that area. They just it was a private party.
So you just eased a lot of fans that were worried about alcohol being at Paisley being served, and I kept saying it was only going to be in the soundstage area only in the back. And that's exactly what it was.
Yes, it was only in the sound stage, and they didn't let any of the party go to the rest of the building. They had that big wall up that separates the sound stage, so everybody was just in that one area. You know how he used to have those love for one another concerts in the back. Everybody came in through that way, and that's as far as we could go was that back area.
Well, thank you for clarifying that, because people have been tripping on that too.
Oh, what?
I'm telling you, Prince fans are turning into what Michael Jackson fans were since he passed and a little bit before he died. How protective they are of him. That's how they are now.
Yeah. Everybody, we all love them. We love them. So I get it, but the fans can be a little, they can overreact a little bit sometimes. But no, there was no alcohol being spilled throughout the building.
Right. Exactly. Yes. Got that sound stage area. If there's anything on the carpet, someone better clean it up quick. Now, are you, you live in Minnesota, right?
Well, when I moved here in 92, stayed here till about 2004, maybe. And then I moved to New Jersey with my wife, Rachel. And I live in New Jersey now.
Okay. Because I was going to say, how do you handle these brutal winters? And this week, everyone performing outside, and you guys are lucky and warm and toasty in the stadium, hopefully. But well, I can't deal with that.
Yeah, a lot of people. You're on the West Coast, right?
L.A. Yeah.
Yeah. See, a lot of people. All my friends from L.A. can't take this cold, but I lived here for 19 years, right. And I love the weather here. I love it because I'm hot all the time. So. The coolness of Minneapolis is just is very comfortable for me. I love it. I prefer the cold than hot.
I think it was like close to 0 degrees today in Minnesota, and today in LA it was 88. So we're 88 degrees warmer than you guys were. Just saying.
Yeah, people were texting me saying how warm it was in LA. Like, it's 80 degrees here, man. Now here it's like 3 degrees there. Like, yeah. Right. But I miss Minnesota. Like I said, I lived here for almost 19 years, and I miss it. I actually miss it.
There's an energy there, even in the short times that I've been there. I don't know if it's just in Chanhassen or what, or if it's just being around him or whatever, but I feel more creative there. There's just something I just cannot describe. I need less sleep when I'm there too, which is interesting. So,
well, just the when I lived here and people would come here to visit, just the excitement in the air of thinking you may look over at a light or you might be at a club. And Prince is right there. That's kind of exciting when you would come here, because he used to hang out at bunkers a lot. And, then he started doing the Jehovah's Witness thing, and he was actually going around knocking on doors and doing Bible studies. And, you just could run into him anywhere. So that to me, that's the most exciting thing about Minnesota, is that you just might look over and he's just sitting right there, or he might be at a light sitting in his car,
That's something.
That's what I was telling you earlier. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying, it's like when I came here, the last time I came here, I was rehearsing with N.P.G. and it just felt the This was last year. We did N.P.G. did a European tour, and it just felt like something was missing, like there was a hole in the sky or something, you know. As the plane was landing, I got off the plane, it just didn't feel the same. It's like the city had lost its shine, you know, because Prince was gone. If that makes any sense at all.
It does. Now, the interesting thing, like you talked about being a Jehovah's Witness, would you guys get into religion? Because that's one thing that we never talked about, and I'm kind of glad that we didn't, you know. No,
I'm sorry.
On that one?
No. I was just, I was actually reading a text. I shouldn't have been. But could you repeat that, please? I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was just wondering if you guys ever talked about religion or whatnot, or if you was trying to make you become a Jehovah's Witness or whatnot.
Well, I actually used to study with Jehovah's Witnesses when I was a younger fella in my teens, and when Larry Graham got in the band, he knew that I used to study, and so we all started studying together. Me, him, Prince, Manuela. We used to have Bible study together. And I would go in and study with Prince. Sometimes I'd go study with Graham, but most of the time it would just be me and Prince, and he would we would go over scriptures. We were studying scriptures, and it was interesting. And then I would go to the Kingdom Hall with him, Graham, Tina Graham, Manuela, and my girlfriend at the time. We would all go to the Kingdom Hall in Chaska, and we would hang out, and then we go have dinner after that, and then we go have Bible study later that evening. So he didn't really try to push it on the band, but he did want you to believe in his beliefs. So there was a time where most of the band was going to the Kingdom Hall, but he didn't, like I said, he didn't force anyone.
Right. That's cool. Thanks for answering that. That's just something I've always been curious about with that.
Yeah, and I guess because I had a past experience with Jehovah's Witnesses, it wasn't new to me, or it didn't feel weird. So I didn't mind studying with him and Larry and going to the Kingdom Hall and doing all those things, because I had already been doing it when I was younger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cool. And like, I remember the first time I saw you perform with him was probably one of his shortest shows, at least in Los Angeles, 1996 at the Hollywood Bowl, where Larry Graham played longer than him. But it's because Prince sometimes, you know, he'll pay the curfew and play over. But the Hollywood Bowl had none of that. You can't do that to this day. You got to be done by 11. And that's it, or you're done. And that's one of the shortest sets. It was a very disappointing show, only because of how short it was, and it was probably one of the windiest nights that it was all year, and we're an outdoor venue, and even Prince was saying it's colder than a witch's titty out here.
Yeah.
But 2 years later, not only did you guys play for a lot longer the next night at Irvine Meadows for over 3.5 hours, and had Sugar Blue on stage and a little dedication to Sheila E.
Yeah, I remember that.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
I was a little bit more prepared.
Yeah.
I felt bad because my friend, a female, she wore a short skirt dress, you know, what the Prince girls at the time would dress like, and not expecting it to be like 44 degrees in LA, you know. But everybody knows we're a little bit more prepared. I went with my boy, and we enjoyed the show. 1998, though, day after you guys did Come On Leno, you guys did the Key Club. And that, to this day, that's one of my favorite shows. I was expecting him because the beat for One of Us came on, but he was using the Love Thy Will Be Done beat. So I wasn't expecting you guys to actually do Love Thy Will Be Done. You know?
Yeah.
So that blew me away. You guys playing Mad Sex blew me away. And Come On, the remix, which we just heard on Leno the night before, but which we didn't own yet, also blew me away. So it went from see you guys in '96 at the Hollywood Bowl with that show, and he was pissed. I mean, he was avoiding LA after that Key Club show, like 2001 or yeah, it was 2001 when he had the N.P.G Music Club and he did a Q&A in the Bay Area. Someone from LA said, "Why no love for LA?" He's like, "We try to play your places and you're closing us down by 11 p.m. That's just when things are getting good."
That's when, it's just when it's getting hot.
But that Key Club show, amazing. I think there was maybe like 500 of us in there, maybe squeezed in like sardines. But, you know, we talk about these shows where you're playing Rock in Rio, you're going to be playing the Super Bowl. But some of these gigs that you guys would play at venues like that just blew my mind. And you guys did that. And that's when Prince supposedly was struggling. He may not have been selling records like he used to, but wherever you guys played, whether it was the Key Club, whether it was the Phoenix Arena, you guys sold out the place and in a short amount of time. So I'm sure you weren't so surprised how, and being a part of it, how successful the Musicology tour turned out to be, which was the most successful of his career, you know?
Yeah.
You in that red suit, what ganging you in, Cool in the Gang, that whole thing. How did that just come about? Was that like something during rehearsal that you guys came up with, or?
Well, yeah, how did that come out? He would always make this joke that I look like a pimp or with some gang or something when I would do this little guitar part in that was that one song? What was that song? Oh crap. Anyway, it was that section with the part you just mentioned.
Right.
And one day he pulled up my pants leg and to see that I had matching socks on to match my suit. So he asked the wardrobe lady to give me a pair of socks that matched all my clothes so we could just add that in as a routine. So we would do that every night. He would come home and say, "What's it? There's a pimp on my stage, you know, you got like a gangster, you know, a pimp or something. How many children you got?" And he would say all this crap. And then he would pull up my pants and he'd be like, "Oh, Lord, he got matching socks on and matching suit." So it was a little routine and just kind of stuck. And then we would start doing this dance step together. Man, what is that song? I can't.
Say DMSR, but it's not, because that would be earlier in the set.
It was that. Dance, music, sex, romance. That's exactly what it was.
All right.
That's exactly what it was.
I saw the March 29th show, which was the kickoff show. You guys had two quote-unquote practice dates in Reno. But so we didn't get that little DMSR till the middle of the tour when you guys came back, where you had the Cool in the Gang line. So DMSR at the LA show was earlier in the set, but by the middle of the tour, it was in the middle, and you guys would groove on that for a while.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Now, that's when. Well, I'm gonna let you play for a minute. Get that groove going.
That was it.
That's the groove. Funk.
Wrong key.
Right. He gave you that look right now.
That's it.
Funky.
That was the one. Yeah. Dance, music, sex, romance. Yeah, man.
Right.
Well, you remember a lot. You remember some stuff I forgot about.
I try to remember everything when it comes to Prince, when it comes to Justin. I try to just be the musicologist in the true sense of the word. But thank you for
I heard that. Now, I heard that.
On the Musicology tour, you had the pleasure, and he also became a band member in Justin's band, playing with the master, John Blackwell.
Oh, yeah.
Now, tell me about some of those experiences. Like, we missed John and Grammys. I'm so upset at you for, in the memoriam section last week, not having John in there. Unforgivable. But
yeah,
We remember you, brother.
Yeah, no, that is crazy. Man, me and John were thick as thieves, man. I have so many stories I could tell you about John. We played with, let's see, somewhere in there before we got with Prince. Was it before? John and I used to play with this Japanese artist named Hikaru Utada, and she was like one of the biggest artists in Japan. And her, like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis did a single on her, and it sold like 1 million copies the first day it came out. So when John and I got with her, she started out just doing stadiums. She was like 17 or 18 years old, and she was amazingly huge in Japan. And here's a tip that a lot of people don't know. John was he was with Justin before I was. He actually got me the gig. Because Prince, what had happened then? Who was playing drums with Prince then?
Cora.
He took a hiatus. Was it Kirk back in there when John was with Justin?
Cora Dunham, who's with
Beyonce. Right. Cora and Josh, yeah. So John had the gig with Justin. He called me on a Friday and said, Justin's going to be auditioning guitar players next week. I flew out on Monday because the audition was on Friday. And I I kept coming to their rehearsal every day. And then Justin finally said, who is this guy? And the MD, who's Kevin Antunes at the time, he said he's here to audition on Friday for guitar. And Justin was like, well, he's here today. Let him audition now. And I auditioned on Wednesday, and they canceled the freaking auditions. And boy, there was a lot of people trying to get that gig. The MD told me, he said, man, you just made a lot of people mad, boy. It's because a lot of people wanted this gig. So John and I, we used to play with a lot of different people together. And we would do a lot of stuff, on the side of Prince and Justin. We would play with, other bands that we had put together. John was an amazing person, an amazing drummer. And man, I think I took his death on like even harder. I don't know, because me and him are like brothers, man. That dude was, I guess it's just the Prince had just passed, and then losing John too, it just kind of knocked me off my feet,
That year was difficult. There was a few people I knew that passed away, and it just, you can't believe it. You're like, not John too.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I was in contact with his wife constantly, and I would call him to talk to him whenever I could. And man, he wasn't getting better. He wasn't getting worse, but he wasn't getting better. And then she each time I would talk to her, she would say something. They did this, but he's having a reaction to that, and now this has happened. So then there was just a downward spiral very quickly. Right. Sad thing, man. Sad thing. To be the most amazing drummer in the world, one of the most amazing drummers in the world, and to just lose that superpower. You just one day you just can't do it anymore. And if John couldn't play, he was going to be miserable, because that's what he loved the most out of the world, out of life. He loved his family, he loved his wife, but he loved playing drums, and that made him like Superman. So to lose that, I can't even imagine. He would have been miserable. If I'm saying, if he did get well and he couldn't play anymore, he would have said himself, I'd rather be dead, than not be able to play.
I understand what you're saying, totally.
Yeah.
It's in your blood, and then you're told you can't do it no more.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, speaking of Prince's passing, like, where were you when you heard it? And speaking of Prince, where were you when you heard that he passed, and how did you take it? I mean, we're all surprised, obviously, but...
Yeah, I was, where was I? I was at home. And my phone just started blowing up because all these people were texting me and calling me to say that they just announced on the news that Prince had passed. And I was like, what the hell you doing? I turned the TV on, and sure enough. And so I was at home, and it just knocked the wind out of me, you know. But especially since he had just ran into that, you know, he had that situation on that Sunday. And then, you know what, he was dead again. He was dead 4 days later, or whatever. It was just overwhelming. I was like, just in disbelief, you know. The same as when Michael passed. I just, you know, I couldn't even believe it. I auditioned for that gig too, to do that. This Is It. They narrowed it down to 5 guitar players. I was one of the 5. And I thought I had the gig, and the dude that auditioned 2 guys after me kicked my ass, and he got the gig. So, and you see how that turned out anyway. So I guess it was, right. I guess it was the way the universe, you know, already had planned it, you know. But yeah, it just did knock me off my feet, man. I couldn't believe it. I'm still in disbelief. You know, and going out with I've been doing gigs with Paul Peterson, and you know, under his the new name, Not the Family. He had it was kind of F Deluxe too, but he was calling it the Minneapolis All Stars. And yeah. we did an amazing tribute to Prince, and that was really, really, really fun, and everybody really loved it really well. We did Australia and Hawaii. It was just a 1 week, 2 week gig. But then N.P.G. went out in tribute last year, man, and I swear I couldn't keep my eyes from crying at every show. Each night we got to Purple Rain, you just kind of just lost it, you know.
Right.
So
yeah, it's still powerful, man.
Yeah, and especially to play with the N.P.G. You know, it's not like you're playing with some band at Bunkers. You're playing with the actual cats that actually recorded this stuff. So it's just. Did you come to the tribute they had at here after he passed? Were you at? I'm sure you were here, weren't you?
I was not there, but I did see them perform at Paisley last April, and it was amazing. And what they do with Purple Rain, man. Oh Lord.
Yeah.
It gets you.
It does get you. It really does get you. So where were you at when you heard of his passing?
I was at home, and I got a text from someone that was worried about him, because I usually talk with him every Thursday morning, and he wasn't picking up. And then I started hearing about that there was something going on in Paisley. So I asked someone that I knew that lived close there named Heidi how far she was away on her bike. She would ride her bike every morning. And she said probably about 20 minutes away. I'm like, can you check something? Can you go by Paisley right now and let me know if you see anything going on over there? And she was there within 10 minutes. And then she took a photo and sent it to me of paramedics inside Paisley. And then I called his lawyer, Phaedra, because I was just out at Paisley the weekend before, because he wanted to throw a party to let everyone know he's all right. So I contacted Phaedra, because I was the last person I was in contact. And I go, what's going on at Paisley? And she's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, apparently there's some paramedics there, and there may be a dead body. And she's like, what? And she's like, let me give you a call back. And literally, while I'm hanging up with her, TMZ is calling me, and it's Harvey Levin. And he's like, Jeremiah? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, we hear there's a dead body at Paisley, and we hear it's Prince's. And I'm like,
wow.
And he's like, we're going to go live with this story in 10 minutes, whether you confirm it or not. We just want to confirm with you. And, you know, I have all these people blow me up on social media asking, and I've broken stories over the years for Prince. I did not care to break this. And I called Phaedra back, and her line was busy. So whoever she was talking to, she was still on the phone with. And then I called her again, waited maybe about a minute, and she sent it straight to voicemail, and that confirmed it.
That confirmed it.
Said he was dead. I was one of the only people that knew first that he passed, and I did not give a damn until his publicist made the announcement. I just sat by my computer, sat by my phone as it kept blowing up, and just I wouldn't respond. And when the publicist made the announcement, I put it out there, but I was in shock, and then just asked to do interviews and other stuff, and I just was, because I was afraid you're gonna have these parasites who didn't know him giving these interviews and saying stuff that they shouldn't be saying. But that was a tough day. Tough year, I gotta say. Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing I didn't want to break, and then I feel bad because there I was the weekend before, and he's trying to convince us that everything is great, everything is good. And, you know, my friend Christina was like, he's not looking good. I don't know. I mean, it was 85 degrees in April, and he was wearing his leather jacket at midnight. Maybe it's to show that he was a little bit skinnier than what he was at the time. I mean, with the fro kind of hides it. I don't know. I feel bad, you know, and when it happened, and I just like was laying, I was just there. I just saw him. Wow. And it was tough, man. I mean, like, I know he wanted me there to say everything was cool. And that's when he said, wait a few days. When you hear stuff like that, wait a few days, say your prayers. Like, he walked out of the studios literally probably around 12:01. And we locked eyes. I nodded my head like I'm here. And then he was on the stage within 30 seconds, and Kirk was running to follow him. So, wow, craziness. I mean, you know, we hear about what happened on the plane, and then more info on that Monday that he had to have a save shot. This is like stuff when I was there on Saturday I had no idea about.
No idea.
No, the only thing that gave up something was wrong is I saw Kirk there, and I saw his new assistant Marone, and they had no idea he flew me out, that he asked me to come. And, you know, usually Prince makes sure everyone's aware of stuff, but they were so busy doing other stuff they didn't know. So
they didn't know.
That's when I kind of freaked out a little bit.
Wow.
And, you know, but I didn't think, you know, what happened on 4/21 was going to happen, you know, and this thing that he was done, he's done everything he needs to do. No, he didn't. He said that to keep challenging himself. Just like he said the musicology tour afforded the luxury to never do another tour like that again. He can pick and choose his own dates. You know? But he was just challenging himself. That's how I took it. He had a lot more to give us. He had a lot more people to piss off.
And he had a lot more good music to write, and a lot more musicians to you know, turn into better musicians,
right?
You know, like Third Eye Girl. They, you know, they came in, and they were good musicians, but when he got done with them, they were pretty amazing.
Oh, for sure. Their first TV appearance on Fallon, I mean, to kind of make your debut on that show. And I watch it now, I'm like, ooh, they were a little rough. But man, less than a year, they were tight as can be. They were rocking Montreux. They were doing everything, you know?
Yeah, he whipped them girls into shape.
For real. I mean, they, as you said, they were good and became great. And I told Donna, like, there's times when I'm listening to you on records that I shouldn't have, but I can't tell who's playing guitar, whether it's you or him. And I'm going to go, I know probably to her that wasn't a huge compliment, but
yeah, that's a compliment.
Sound like Prince.
Yeah.
You know? Now, speaking of which, I had musicians ask me questions to ask you, and they want to know who was your favorite, and I don't know, using this term, but side guitarist, maybe not rhythm guitarist, but side guitarist. Who is your favorite Prince side guitarist? Wendy, Dez, Miko, Levi?
I love them. I love them all. No, it's not that tough. I love them all. They all are great players. I met Dez once. We jammed together. Dez is a beast. Wendy's a beast. But Miko, I've actually never met Miko. We never met. But I'm telling you, the dude to me is freaking Levi Caesar, man. That dude's the funkiest dude on the planet.
Right.
Levi is he's just a really good. He's a great pocket, clean, funky guitarist, and I know why Prince loved his playing so much.
Right. That Sign of the Times band.
Yeah.
Quickly became a favorite, and then the tightness of Sexy MF and his solo, man, for that alone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Another question we had from a musician: does Mike still own and play his orange Gretsch Jet guitar he played on the Musicology tour?
No, I don't. I don't play that guitar anymore. I actually play Paul Reed Smith hollow body acoustics. And the reason I use those guitars is because it has an acoustic and an electric guitar output, so I can run both sounds at the same time on top of each other. And when I came, Prince and I went our separate ways a few times. My mother was dying of cancer, and I couldn't go back out with them. I think that was what year was? I hate to say this. What year was? No, I can't say it. My mom was dying, and I couldn't go back on a tour with them, so he had to do the tour without me. And I didn't get back in the band till maybe 99, 2000, something like that. And I wasn't playing Gretsch anymore. I was playing this Paul Reed Smith. He liked the sound of that, and then I left the band for a while again. Came back, and he was playing Vox guitars recently. Before he died, he was playing Vox, and he asked me to also play Vox as well. So I started playing Vox, and Justin went out and did a Future Sex tour maybe 5 years ago, and that was the last time I worked with Prince, because we were working. He was working with Andy Allo then. I was playing a Vox. He was producing Andy. We put a band together behind Andy, and then I ended up starting to play back with N.P.G. again. And we were having a Christmas, he doesn't celebrate Christmas, but we were having a gathering before Christmas break. And I said, he was walking down the hall, and I said, Prince, what do you got planned for next year? Because Justin was about to start on January 1st. Here it was December 23rd or something like that. I said, what do you got planned for next year? He turned around and said to me, you're asking me about next year? I haven't finished figuring out today yet. And he walked away. And I said, well, okay, I got stuff to do next year. He said, go do what you got to do. And I started with Justin. Then I get a call on the 3rd of January that Prince wanted us to reconvene to start rehearsing for some tour dates. But I had already started with Justin. So, right. And as Chris James will tell you, I was talking to Chris one time at Paisley, and Prince took his phone and he said, we don't talk to traitors. He hung up the phone. I was like, wow. Okay. Yeah. Rough. But Kirk did call me when, Kirk called me when he was doing Judith. He said, Prince, why don't you come out and play guitar with Judith? So I guess we were cool then. But it didn't happen. It didn't pan out. But at least I got the call back, so that let me know we're still cool. You
got traded back.
Yeah. But
see,
man,
that's amazing, because Adrian Crutchfield, they were taking a break one time, and he's like, man, I'm trying to make my own album, and I want to play with Prince, even though we don't know when we're playing. But he's like, Bette Midler's touring, and she wants to pay me a lot of money. And like, he hit up the person at the time in charge, was like trying to hit up Prince, hey, you gonna be doing anything in the next 3 months or whatever? I kind of need to know by Monday. And then he's like, no, everything's good. And then he just committed to Bette Midler. And then, of course, you get the call, hey, we're going to be doing something. He's like, man, I just committed. I can't do it no more. And it's funny because at the time, Adrian will even tell you that He's like, yeah, it's gonna be good, a stable paycheck. I know what I'm gonna be on. I know what I'm gonna be doing every night. Then you hit him up in the middle of the tour, and he's like, man, I'm missing the craziness of getting these calls and always having to have a suitcase packed because you don't know where the heck you're gonna be. But,
yep.
And then in the middle of the tour, he wasn't too far away, and that's when Prince was playing the White House for the Obamas, and Adrian made sure to bring his sax and just meet up in Washington, and he got to play at the White House gig because of that. So, I just wonder how many times that happens where you're like, oh, I want to know what you're going to do, and then poof, you're booked.
Yeah, well, there was another time that I was out of the band. I think after my mom passed, I was in D.C. doing something with I had a session in D.C. and Prince was playing a concert in D.C. and I called that at that time, I believe Trevor Allen was still with him, and I said, Trevor, tell Prince I want to come through and jam tonight, and he said, okay. And then he hit me back, said, yeah. He said, come through. And all of a sudden, I was back in the band again. So I jammed with them that night, and, I was back in the band again. So it would happen like that. It would happen like that a lot. Matter of fact, when I first got in the band, when Kirk invited me out to audition with them, I almost didn't go because I had a gig that night at Bunkers, paying like $150 or something. And I said, oh man, Kirk, I can't go because I got to play tonight. He said, all right. I said, what about tomorrow? He said, man, this is one of them opportunities, brother. He said, it ain't going to be there tomorrow. It's today only. And I said, I'm sorry, man. Cause I knew the gig was at 9. It was almost 7. I knew the guy couldn't find a replacement, but then I got off the phone and I was like, wait, what the heck am I doing? I'm about to pass up an opportunity to jam with Prince to go do a $150 gig. So I called the guy. I said, man, I can't make it tonight. I got to go out to Paisley. He was pissed, but I went out and jammed with him that night. It was like a Wednesday. We rehearsed Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, got on a tour bus on Saturday, and I didn't know I was in the band. He never said I was in the band. I was just on a tour bus, and next thing I knew, here we are years later. I'm still with him, but we never discussed it. He never said, okay, you're in the band, this is what your salary is going to be. They just started talking about dates, and of course the first date was in my hometown of Washington, D.C. So that was amazing, to come back to my hometown, and I'm playing with freaking Prince, right?
Right.
Yeah, so that was a good day for me that day.
Now,
but yes, and I guess that was I don't remember what that tour was called because it was some little short promo tour, and then he started. Let's see, it had to be it was around Emancipation. We were doing just some promo dates,
and then we went charity dates, then the Jam of the Year tour.
Yes, exactly. Jam of the Year. Yes. Look, man, I've been playing the guitar since I was about 11, and I've been playing professionally since I was about 13. And I've been playing with so many people. Unfortunately, most of it's a big blur, of gigs and tours and cities. And I just, the details never really mattered to me because I just had to go whichever way the tour bus was pointing or whatever that plane ticket said, that's where I had to go. So it didn't really matter to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It didn't really matter what city we were in or what venue we just played because it was night after night. Justin's last tour was 200 and something concerts. And the one before that, Future Sex we were out for 2 years. And man, it's just, that's a long time to be on the road. And Prince would go out, he'd go out for 3-4 months. We'd take a break. Go out, 3-4 months, take a break. Justin goes out, man, and we're out. His tour starts end of March, and we're going to be out until March of next year. And then I'm sure more dates will come up in that time. But so yeah, the point I'm making, I've been doing this so long. That's why I'm surprised you remember all those gigs. I'm like, damn, I remember that. I remember that too. That's crazy.
I try on that. Now, the night that you play with him, that you asked to jam, you brought his guitar. You brought your guitar, right?
Yeah, and Kat Dyson was playing. It was Kat, Rhonda, Kirk
and
Morris.
I remember one time there was this one female guitarist who I've interviewed before, but I'm not going to say her name, that Prince originally wanted in Third Eye Girl. So he was doing a show in LA and invited her to the after show. And then she came and he goes, "Where's your guitar?" She's like, "Oh, I didn't know you wanted me to bring it." So that may be one of the reasons why she didn't get that gig.
Yeah.
Not bringing her guitar that night. So
it's
good you brought it.
Yes, I did. They set up an amp for me. I bought my pedals, and like I said, Cat Dyson was playing that night, and we jammed for a few hours. And he was really happy, and I was happy that he was happy. But Prince, like I said, he rides you and pushes you to greatness, and you think he's just being hard on you, but he knew that you had more potential. Because man, he used to ride me a lot, and Hans Buff was the studio tech there that at that time when I first got there, and one day he just got through riding me about something, and I was in the studio cutting, and I came in and Prince left, and Hans was like, "Man, Prince loves you, man." He said he goes crazy when you're playing. He says you're the funkiest guitar player in the world, and he just loves your playing. And I'm like, why is he always up my butt then? But then I got it. Years later, I got it because he was just trying to get me to be the best musician I could be. But I was happy to hear Hans say that. He said, "Man, that dude, he can't stop talking about you, man. You're in there laying parts, and he's in there going, man, Mike Scott is funky. Listen to that. Man, that's the funkiest dude in the world." I'm like, wow, okay. I was happy to have Hans tell me that, because I used to not be sure, because he was always hollering at me about something. But once I figured out what Prince wanted me to do, we got along just fine, because I stayed in my lane. I only played what he wanted me to play, and we got along fine after that. It was just getting to that point.
Right, which was tough.
Yeah.
Like I said,
because when he would put the guitar down, he'd want it to sound as though he was still playing. He'd want to feel like he want the funk to still feel like he was still playing. So that was the combination of what I learned in Minneapolis playing with all those bands and the style that I had when I grew up in Washington, D.C. The combination of the elements allowed me to have a lot of success in Minneapolis. Playing with, I played with damn near every band in Minneapolis. I played with the Steels, the Stud Brothers, Ipso Facto, Sounds of Blackness. I've sat in with Mint Condition. Man, I tried to play with every band. A Combo, I played with the Combo a million times, man. And I remember the first time I jammed with the Combo. It was a funny story, because I was playing with some band that came to Minneapolis. I'm sure you've seen the Combo a million times, but Michael Bland and Sonny T playing.
Yes.
The first time we went to, they took me to see them back in '92. The guys that bought me, they were like, "Man," I said, "Man, I want to jam with them, because they funky." And the guy said, "Man, they don't let nobody sit in. Yeah, they ain't gonna let you sit in." So they took a break, and I went right to Michael Bland and said, "Man, y'all so funky, man. I said, I want to get up and jam." And Bland was like, "Okay, brother, you that confident? Come on up there then." Boy, I got up there and jammed about 3 songs with them, man. And it was amazing, because they the funkiest mugs on the planet. The Combo is. And I got off stage, the guys I was with, they're like, "Man, how'd you get up there? They don't let anybody jam with them?" I said, "I don't know, man. They just playing funk. How could you not jam with them? It's just funk. Just funky. Just be funky." And that was Prince's middle name, Funky.
Mm-hmm.
It should have been his middle name.
Prince Funk Rogers, or Prince
Yep.
Nelson. Prince Funk Nelson. Now, someone had a question. They want to know, did JT ever ask you to play your songs N.P.G. style? Play Justin songs N.P.G. style?
Never. The MD did have me do a little mock-up of Purple Rain, the intro to Purple Rain. We have a part that sounds similar. They wanted it Purple Rain style. You know, the guitar at the beginning. You know, this thing. So they had me do a similar strumming, not the same chords, but just a feel. But Justin played in Minneapolis the last tour, and me and him just took a minute, and we touched on a couple of Prince songs. I started playing. I played a little bit of Sexy MF, I think, and we might have played a little bit of Kiss or something. I don't know. And John Bream even wrote, he said, Justin Timberlake concert was great, but he said the highlight of the night is when him and Mike Scott started playing Prince songs. So that was fun. But no, we don't. Yeah, yeah. Bream's a nice guy. He doesn't incorporate. I mean, you know, he doesn't request me to do Prince style stuff, but I do add it in whenever I get a chance, because I played with Prince. Yeah, I played with Prince so long. I'll throw some chicken grease in there in a minute. Yep. You know, chicken grease.
Now, someone asked this question, and I could never answer it. So if you can't answer it, they want to know what your favorite Prince album is.
I honestly have to say there were two. Paisley Park was one of my favorites, and the Exodus album was really good. I really used to play the Exodus album a lot, and then there was also the Come album. I used to play that a lot. So you told me to name one, I named three.
There you go. Around the World in a Day, The Exodus Has Begun, and Come.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah. Thank God.
Oh, that's it. Right. Around the World in a Day. That was the name of the album. My bad.
No problem.
Hey, hey, Doctor, you like, don't be quoting no mess incorrectly, man. You gonna quote it correct.
Oh, people will hit me up on Twitter if we get it wrong. So you know.
Yeah, Around the World in a Day. That was quite I thought that album was amazing, man. Just, you know, some of the songs on there were just so great. And Exodus was just funky because, you know, he was trying to do that different thing, and Sonny was singing a lot of the stuff, and
right,
you know, that band, that N.P.G. band was just, you know, Tommy Morris, you know, Damon. Matter of fact, I just saw them. They just played Big Tony and all of them. They just played the Hornheads.
Yep.
Yeah, they were killing.
I want them to add more songs from Exodus. I want to hear The Good Life. The Good Life's a jam, man.
Yeah, Good Life is a jam. Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
What do you have coming up with Justin aside from this, you know, small thing tomorrow called the Super Bowl? What else do you guys have going on?
We go straight back to New Jersey, back to tour rehearsals. We'll be in rehearsal for the next month or so, and then his tour kicks off. Like I said, sometime late March, I believe we start doing dates. Late March, early April, and we'll be out, you know, doing the Man in the Woods new material along with his other hits. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. That's all I got planned for the rest of the year. That's my plan for the year.
When you guys are playing in LA, I gotta go.
Yeah. You know what? And people always hit me to get them tickets in LA, and I always tell people, you know, that's the worst town to get tickets because all the artists end up giving tickets to their A-list friends. So just don't even ask me.
Go to Anaheim or go to the Bay Area.
Go to Anaheim or go to the Bay Area. Yeah. Hey, but if you ever do want to come, man, let me know, because they gave us, we do have a friends and family discount website where we can buy tickets for friends and family. And if you can't get into a concert because it's sold out, just hit me up and I'll send you the website.
Definitely, Mike. Appreciate it. Now, aside from this tour, I gotta let you go because you gotta get your beauty sleep. I know it's getting a little bit late over there in Minnesota.
Yes, it is.
Now,
yes, it is.
Goals what other goals do you have? I mean, you played with an iconic musician. You're playing with one of the most popular musicians of this era right now. What other goals do you have? You know,
I actually have some solo stuff that I've done, some guitar stuff. I do a lot of producing for other artists. As I said, my wife Rachel and I have an artist called Unix that we produce, and I just do production on a bunch of people. Nobody has a record deal or anything yet, but I've done several albums of my own that is just guitar funky stuff. I never even got to let Prince hear. I don't think I let him hear anything. I remember John let him hear some of his music, and he actually took the CD out and threw it out the window of the limo. It was like really bad. So I said, I'm not even gonna play him my stuff. I'm sure he would have dug it though, but I just didn't. I didn't even attempt to let him hear it. Wow. So that's what I do in my spare time. I sit at home and produce and write and try to keep the tools of my trade nice and sharp.
Understand. Well, Mike, I want to thank you so much the night before the Super Bowl and taking time to talk to us. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for subscribing on iTunes, for checking us out on Stitcher, for subscribing on YouTube. Share with your friends. Much love. Mike, thanks again for being on, man. I really appreciate it.
Dr. Funk, thank you for having me, bro. I appreciate you taking some time, because Chris James kept telling me I needed to holler at you, and we've just been so crazy this week because we've been running the Super Bowl thing. They set up the stage, we run the show, they tear it down. They set it back up, they run the show, they tear it down. They set it back up, run the show, they tear it down. So, because they got 9 minutes to set it up, we got 12 minutes to play it. They got 9 minutes to get that crap off the field. So it's we've been running it every day. So I'm glad we got to talk, man, and I appreciate you wanting to have me for an interview for a guest. I appreciate that.
Thanks a lot, Chris James. Thanks as well. Much love, everyone. Till next time, keep it funky.